G'day, welcome to Mad Scientist Prospecting. My name's 𝗤𝗃𝗶𝗴, and yes, another episode of Dental Gold. My dentist is in Heathcote, and I'm taking the two kids to the dentist, and so we're going early to do some scouting, because I found out recently that there's a copper mine, or at least there used to be a copper mine over there.
And it's supposed to come undone?
No.
Oh, what? Oh, you are.
Right, I was just laughing at Sarah so much I've forgotten what I was going to say. What was it?
I don't know, but hurry up.
Oh yes, now another thing that's going to slow me down from doing some serious digging, well, two things really. One is I don't need a miner's manicure because my nails are incredibly short from the work I did down the gravel bank. And two is I'm injured. Now my nurse has done a pretty crap job at dressing things up. Like she missed the first time. It's my nurse. Yeah, if you want sympathy, never marry a nurse. Now the story behind this will be on another channel. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it on 𝗤𝗃𝗶𝗴 or Chestnut Nag, but I was grievously injured yesterday.
You poor thing.
Another thing that's going to slow me down
So
today
sad.
from doing, sharing stuff with you a bit is that I haven't charged all the batteries up from the effort I did yesterday. But right now we've got to get the trailer
Look,
off.
he's taking off with the head.
He's chewing the head. Lucky, Annalise is going to be really cross with you if you're chewing her head. Now, if you haven't worked it out, this was filmed quite some time ago, and the head was a lot bigger, and Lucky was a lot smaller. Arrgh. And there was also a lot less reed on the workshop roof. Right, so you haven't got the trailer off yet, and you haven't disconnected the wire yet. You just spent all that time undoing the shackles that didn't need to be undone. Ow! Ow! Right,
Hurry up.
on the end of the trailer, quick. Right, Lucky, come on, in you get. You're such an old man, you need help. Oh. Now we're just about to turn onto the lane along where the copper mine is, or at least where it used to be. And there's a creek here we've come across, which I think is going to be downstream, or potentially downstream of the copper mine, depending on where the copper mine is and the catchment is. So I thought we'd just have a quick look and a quick pan. Now I'm sure the microphone's not picking it up, but there is a real buzz of bees in these grey box. And it was just here where the trap was. Just back up, back up, back up, back up. Just there, right there. This is upstream, and I'm holding the camera really close to the water because it's the other side of this little weir. Now, the only way any gold is going to get past this obstruction is in an absolute raging flood. And when it is an absolute raging flood, not much is going to get caught down here, but maybe a little bit. So let's have a look and see what we can see. And since we're looking for copper, we want to have a look at the rocks as much as the what might else be here. Oh, that's heavy. Let's get some of this in a pan and see what it looks like. I wasn't even trying to clear out anything there, and I was on concrete with the shovel, so I wasn't going to pick up much. But there is actually a little speck of gold just there. Oh, 2 specks of gold. Huh. Just there. That was a bit of a shock. Ah! It's a trap! Oh my... Right, well, I have just been incredibly... Oh, now Lucky's done. So I've just come down here, and that's what I've stepped on. And yeah, it's a build-up of tumbleweed, and I've just stepped through it, and I've overflowed a gumboot. And then Lucky just came charging down, and he's done the same thing. You poor fella, eh? Oh, actually, I think I got water in both boots. I got 2 wet feet. Well, this is the kind of stuff I like to see when I'm working an old gold field, is massive erosion. I don't like to see it as an environmentalist, but it does mean we get access to the pay layers, which the old timers would have had to dig through all that clay. Some interesting pay layers with some heavies. Look at that stuck in there. Piece of ironstone. Doesn't feel particularly heavy though, although one of the things about the hematite and magnetite around here is it's not solid, it's a bit porous, so it doesn't feel as heavy because it's got all these gaps in it. But let's look back in the main flow. You can see the culvert pipe just there. It would have slammed out into that. And so that's why that band of the big bluestone heavies is all there. And then it would have washed down here, which means that kind of all this is an inside bend. But in my experience and in my theory, sharp inside bends like that aren't too crash hot at 𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏. Like, it'll happen, but you want a more gentle inside bend, and I'll be doing a video on why that is and to demonstrate it hopefully in due course. But so that means that this area here actually is probably a better place to look, because it's where it widens out, and the velocity of the flow would be dropping off. Although it would be, if any gold's going to get across that concrete wall though, it's still going to be flat out here, and the chunky stuff is probably going to be right up there, and the finer stuff down here. And if I had more time, I reckon I would have a play amongst this bedrock drifting back over to this way. Particularly what I'd love to do is I reckon about here is do some test pits, because this mound up, now that looks all relatively small stuff, but that would have been deposited once the flow was receding, and just underneath that I reckon would be a good spot. Plus you've got all these interesting things. Look at this. This is what have we got here? There's a bunch of mineralized something with some quartz through it. I wonder if we can crack that open. That was easy. Massive amounts of mineralization of something. Look at that. It's a mineralized lump of something. Look at this. Oh, that's a lump of ironstone. That is chunky. But we're not here to prospect. This is more a scouting trip, and having found those two dots without even really trying that hard, I reckon we've done enough here. I've grabbed a few rock samples to take home. There's also some very interesting slates here which could be good for sharpening stones. It's quite fine grain. I found some other pieces, but they were veined with quartz, which of course is not good for sharpening. I've just been a silly prospector. We are now, of course, at 𝗏𝗃, and 𝗏𝗃, to subscribers of my channel, is known for its bargain land deals. If you want to know what I'm talking about, there's a video, link to the video up either there or there. But anyway, we've just seen some hills over that way, and we're going to turn towards them. That's where we're heading now.
Can we stop at the 𝗏𝗃?
No, you're not old enough to go to the pub. That is a cool little engine. This is a fire tube boiler. So the exhaust, the smoke from the coal or wood fire, comes through these tubes and then goes up the chimney. And behind here is the water tank. And these are a really efficient way of capturing the heat from the fire, from the furnace. Problem is do have a tendency to kind of, if they're not well looked after, blow up. Which is of course what the regulators are for. Steam power is one of those things I want to really have a crack at one day. But there's all these laws and regulations about it. Because they blow up! So those hills over there is where I think the copper mine is, over the back of this one. I have no idea how much we're going to be able to see, because of course it's all private land, it's all farmland. But you know, let's head up this hill and see what we find. Well, this is the valley on the other side of those hills that we've just come across. Main road looks to be down there where that truck is going through. And according to the maps I was looking at, the copper mine should be here somewhere, but I haven't seen any signs of any workings yet. Well, in further lessons in the importance of having a look around and not being too focused on just the one thing, I turned around and I saw this dam over here with some rocks in it, just in the spoil there. And I stepped over this lump of something to get to it. A little interesting nodulization there. But then over here, oh, and I've just found this. That looks like a massive lump of ironstone. Oh, far out. I'm not going to be able to lift that. That's huge. Wish I had a hammer. Right, so that's the hills where we just were. And then as I got down the road a bit and around the corner, I could see these rock outcrops, which I think were the remains of the old copper mine, because their location in the paddock roughly coincides with the markings for the shafts on the GeoVic map. So I wanted to continue looking down the hill to see if I could find any evidence of any copper-bearing rocks. And as I've been coming down the road, I've seen this interesting pile of sand and gravel. Now at first I thought it was an ant nest, and actually it is an ant nest. It's huge! How big is that thing? The reason I stopped was because if this is a spoil pile or some sort of mullet pile from the mine that's up the hill, and it is chockers with ants, I can hear them running through the grass. Look at them all. But anyway, look at all this ironstone. So it doesn't feel particularly heavy. But there's a lot of it. The volcanic nature of the soil has changed. It's now, it looks like this underlying clay base. So maybe those mines up there, they could find them because they were sticking, the outcrops that attracted them to that spot were sticking out from underneath the volcanic outcrop. Or the volcanic flow. Because the other side of the, because up on those hills and on the other side of those hills, it looked like a really rich red volcanic soil. Kind of like where I used to grow up. This is where my lack of geology lets me down. Mind you, the ecologist in me is fascinated by this ant nest. It is huge. And look at that. That path there, that has been worn by the ants. They've gone backwards and forwards there so much that they've worn away the grass. This is a huge colony. It doesn't feel, it's so black though. There's an ant on my hand. Ugh. Listen to that. It really kind of sounds metallic, doesn't it? But it doesn't feel heavy. Well, that was the end of filming for that day. Yasser, my dentist at Heathcote, is amazing. I don't know about you guys, but I find going to the dentist incredibly traumatizing. And he's the only dentist I've ever been to where I don't feel like a nervous wreck afterwards. Like, it's still not pleasant, but he is just miles better than anyone else. Now, I was a little bit hampered in this scouting mission because I didn't know what I was looking for. I'd done some Googling to find images of what copper ore would look like. And this sort of copper ore, which is a 𝗏𝗃𝗵𝗴, and didn't have any luck finding it, especially because it's an old ore, an old exposed ore, which means it's oxidized, which means it's not chalcopyrite anymore. And if you do a search on Google about what oxidized chalcopyrite looks like, you get a whole stack of pictures of chalcopyrite and not oxidized chalcopyrite. So I'm not sure if all that black irony stone stuff was some sort of ironstone like hematite or magnetite. I didn't have a magnet with me, so I didn't check if it was magnetic or not, or whether it was oxidized chalcopyrite. So if you know, and if any of those photos or the film shots that I showed you of those mineralized rocks you reckon's interesting, let me know, please, because I'm working on getting a furnace set up and some crushing stuff, just sampling at this stage. But down the track, I am going to build a stamp mill based on one from the D-Re Metallica. So if you'd like to see those, hang around, because the videos will be coming out at some point in the future. Coming up though is a video where I'm going to be leading into the video where I talk about inside vents. There's some theory I want to cover first, and then I'm going to do the video on how that purely theoretical stuff applies to trying to decipher what's going on in inside vents. So catch you then. Oh, and tomorrow is the Goldfinger Eagle Hawk meet and greet at Lightning Hill. It's not my event. I'm going along because I want to catch up with Darby, who's running it. So yeah, come along. He said I can invite people along as well. So if you want to see me there, I'll see you there tomorrow, which is the 9th of November. And there's a link to where Lightning Hill is and where we're going to be gathering in the description. Catch you guys later. Bye bye.